Hey everybody, Chris with Clutter Reduction Junk Removal in Palm Beach County, Florida. Number one, we got our old truck back. Took forever, got the sides back on, so now we can advertise again because we've been driving around with just a plain white truck for the last 5 weeks. But we're back. Not 100% done, I'll show you that in a second, but for the most part, now we're saving on the rental fee. So, real quick. I have been, for the last couple of years, going back and forth with keeping my truck organized. And not just organized, but keeping everything in one place to where it's easy to keep in one place and not get disorganized, because that tends to happen. I've tried the tote system. I got like 3 different size totes, one for big stuff, one for medium, one for small stuff, and then my tote bag. And the problem is that one tote ends up in the back of the truck, one tote ends up in the trailer, and then the other tote ends up underneath my seat. And we're back to square one where everything's disorganized again. So I've been keeping my eye out for one of these things, and I finally found it on sale at Lowe's for $100, normally $140, and it's one of these stackable toolboxes. And I can't afford the Milwaukee one because it's like $400, and the Husky ones are still like in the high twos. This one, $100. I tried to see if I could find it cheaper on Amazon just in case, and it was $115, which tells me that this one was a better deal at the time, and I don't want to have to wait until Black Friday for something to potentially be in stock or be on sale. So what we're going to be doing today is organizing the truck. But if you've seen us before, I've talked about like what's in our truck kind of video in the past. I am the type to like to bring more than necessary in case I need it. Okay, and I'm not talking tools. Like I know people who do like handyman work and they have every possible tool you can think of, because that one time they forget a tool, they're gonna have to drive all the way out to Home Depot to go buy one or drive back home and get it, and that's a huge time waster. I don't do that per se. I keep on to things I may need in a like dire situation. So for example, like I always carry this stuff with me. This is my battery pack, my air pump for if we need to plug a tire, which happens quite often. I have a plug set, I have extra of the little rubber plugs, you know. And then when it comes to junk removal and moving, well, not moving per se, but we use moving supplies on junk removal jobs. I have bands, I have tape, I have shrink wrap, I have my floor runner, we have door stoppers, I have all my standard tools, I have like little knick-knack items that I use in very specific situations. But the problem is that time and time again, it just ends up scattered everywhere. I try to keep it as clean as possible. I actually really like using the milk crates. We get a ton of these on jobs. I have like 40 of them in my side yard, and I actually really like these because they fit things well and then they can stack, and because they have the little holes, you can like bungee it to like your back seat or something. But there comes a point where even these don't work out super well because there are holes, and by the time you like try to fill it in with cardboard inserts or something, it just ends up being a lot. So we got the Craftsman stackable box. My goal is to get everything inside of it, with the exception of my larger tools. I'll keep that in my bag. So I'll put the smaller tools in here and stuff. But like, of course, the hammer and the sawzall and the drill, those are gonna go in a separate bag. But everything else, my goal is to get in those bottom 2 totes. So the only thing that's not gonna be going in there is gonna be my emergency roadside equipment. So I'll be keeping that off to the side. But gloves, masks, hazmat suit, mattress bags, like 1 or 2 rolls of tape, all that stuff I want to be inside of here. And that's gonna be the goal, is to condense everything. So we're gonna see what we can do real quick, and I'm gonna have to try to declutter a little bit. I know that's our company, but it's hard to do yourself, especially when it comes to work stuff. So let's see what happens. So what I went ahead and did was pulled out most things, and I went ahead and wrote down what I plan on putting in each one. And of course that's like my total just miscellaneous, and that's only because we've had the rental trucks. So I've been getting like a different truck every week. So I've just been pouring everything in there and just moving it truck to truck. But now we need to go through and organize it. So I'm thinking the big one, I'm gonna try to get my first aid kit in there if I can. If not, I usually stick it underneath my seat. But we'll get the shrink wrap, the bands, tape, the larger container of wipes, and a couple of other things in the big one. So that'll be more like containment and first aid. The little guy will be like gloves, masks, mattress bag, a tape for the mattress bag, and we use the mattress bags in case we have like a really nasty bed that we don't want to have to touch. We have the mattress bars, but we still have to handle it. So we'll put the mattress bag on first, and then we'll just charge the client for the mattress bag. You call it a sanitation bag. We'll tape it off so that way we never have to touch the bed. So that could be like if it was treated for bed bugs, but you never know. If it has like blood on it or mold or just reeks of like pee if it's like fresh or something. Sometimes people get rid of beds like the next day and they call us for it, and I'm like, well, I don't want to touch it. So I'll have a mattress bag and a tape roll in there, and then the toolbox I'm going to use for like my small tools, and then I'll keep the big tools in that bag. And I'll also put small stuff in it like the hitch lubricant or my flagging tape if we have something sticking out of the truck or trailer. I like to tie this off as a warning for others. I'll keep extra carabiner clips in one. I use these with my tarp to kind of help hold it down a little better. So some of this is like just clutter that just needs to get taken out that was in the truck from before we dropped it off. The pull stick stays. I use that every week. The fire extinguisher is DOT. We got to find somewhere safe to put that. DOT triangles. I've always just kind of stuck them back here because it's concealed. I actually don't love this thing. This was something that all the rental trucks I had, it was just flat and it was so nice. The whole back was just flat. This, you got that big middle section that goes up. You got this freaking thing. Like, don't get me wrong, it's great if you're using the seat. I'm not using the seat though. So it's just a pain. And it's actually something I didn't think about 100% with that. So I'll have to figure that out. Usually I just fill it in and keep it kind of level, and then I put that on top and I'll bungee it to the seat. And then I'll leave this here. And like, this sucks carrying around. Don't get me wrong, it's heavy, it's big, it's awkward. But I've had to plug a tire while I had the trailer with me before, and I wasn't able to jack it up with the little guy that comes with the truck. And then I have another one too that it just didn't come up high enough to like actually lift this truck. It was fine with the Titan, but because this truck is so much higher off the ground, my other jack, it didn't even work. I wasn't even able to lift the tire off the ground. So I had to get a bigger heavy duty guy who can come up a little higher. So that's the reason why this is in here. And most other things can come out. We keep a moving blanket in here because we use it as a drag pad. If we have a tight space and we can't get it on the dolly, we'll lay down a blanket, stick it on it, drag it through a hallway or through a tight spot so we don't mess up the floors. And that's pretty much it. So I'm trying to separate a little bit. I gotta get through that thing. That tow is just full of just the utmost miscellaneous. So these are our moving bands. This is what moving companies will use to wrap furniture. We use them for keeping things closed, such as drawers on a dresser or on a refrigerator or an armoire. So that way when we're moving it either on a hand truck or a dolly, I don't have to worry about the doors flinging open and hitting a wall and causing damage. I didn't have that before the accident, so that's good to know. So I don't keep all of them with me. Obviously this is a lot. It doesn't look like a lot, but that's a lot of bands. It takes up a lot of room. So usually the way I look at it is I'll keep like 6 yellow and then usually like 4 of each. And the reason for that math is we'll use these on like nightstands or like small cabinets, and sometimes we may need to use multiple on one. These are your shortest length, so these are going to be for smaller items. The red is your biggest, so we would use these for like dressers or TV center if it had maybe like the swinging barn doors on both sides. And then the green or blues are kind of in between, so it just comes down to how big the piece is. But usually we're going to use these a little bit more than we will these guys. If, let's just say for a senior living facility, for example, you got 2 nightstands and maybe a little cabinet, so I'd end up using 3 of these. There's 1 big dresser, I'd probably use 1 red, and then maybe there's like a chest. Maybe I want to use the green or the blue and run them vertical. So at any given time, I'm never going to use 6 of all colors. So that's why I do 6, 4, and that's just on average what we usually see. If I needed to do anything, this is only just to get me out to the truck once. So once I get the piece into the truck, I can take it back off and put it on the new one. It's only to keep doors from flinging open while we're moving it. So I don't need to keep a ton with me. If we do run low, it's just a safety measure. So that's another reason why I don't need a ton of them. But they're pretty good to have. I mean, you can get these on Amazon. They're cheaper if you can get them in a moving supply store, but on Amazon, I think you can get a dozen for maybe 15 or 20 bucks. And they last for quite a while. If you don't leave them out in the sun, they'll last even longer. And then if you don't overstretch them, these can stretch pretty far, but over time they will start to separate. You'll see like a little nick on the side, and then once that happens, it doesn't take too long for it to start to tear. And it does hurt if it hits you. It is a giant rubber band, but overall they do last quite a while. So something I did forget, this truck luckily does have 2 extra compartments, but in here I usually keep like eye wash cleaner. I know it's very specific, but because we do junk removal and we have chemicals that fling up and dusty areas and things fall down your eyes, I always keep a big container of eye wash, and then I have eye wash cups. So you fill that up, you basically hold it up to your eye and then just dip it back. So it keeps it a little easier than having to do this squirt bottle and it's like staring into a needle. So that's in here. I'll probably move this to the first aid kit though, and I'll use this for like extra wipes or something just as a backup. And on the other side, I usually keep all my tire repair stuff just because I know where it is. But again, I'm probably gonna move that to the roadside crate. So I won't be able to get all of that in here anyway. So I'm just gonna have a tote sticking out, I guess. I don't know. So let's put that in here with the first aid kit. Shrink wrap just barely fits, which is nice too. So we got our bends, first aid kit, wipes, tape, Clorox wipes, shrink wrap. And then here we got bags, gloves, masks, mattress bag, wipes. And this tote is pretty much empty except for the floor runner and the trailer aid, which are gonna sit out anyways. That's just miscellaneous shit. But I still got this little pile to tackle here. So much crap, so little space. All right, so I ended up using this for pretty much all tire related stuff. It has my extension cord, it has my adapter in there that's for in case like you don't have anywhere to plug an extension cord in. You can put the adapter in the cigarette lighter and then attach the extension cord to that. So that's how my other truck was, all the repair stuff. And then on the other side, I haven't decided what I'm gonna do with that yet. I might keep extra batteries in there so they're like kind of hidden. I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, so far we're just kind of filtering through stuff. I did want to show you guys this. This is called a hump strap or a moving strap. It is a 4-inch thick burlap strap and they come in different lengths. I believe it's 12, 16, and 18 feet. Don't hold that to me. Basically what you use it for is moving awkward objects. I used it more when I was on my own. Now that I have Tanya, I don't need it as often. We've only used it like twice with her, and one time was to show her how to use it. Basically, I'll throw up some pictures on the screen of what you would generally use this for, but use it as like a giant handle basically. Like you could wrap your hand around it, or like roll tight and wrap it up. And then if you have like a really tall piece and you're on a slant going downstairs, and to hold it like this would be a nightmare, and you're just at such an awkward angle, you could hold it a little bit more upright by having this wrapped all the way down to like where the feet are, and then you're holding it at the top, so you know you're in a more comfortable position, and then your other guy's just holding the feet to keep it upright. So again, I'll throw some pictures up on the screen, but this is like 20-30 bucks. It doesn't hurt to have. If you teach yourself how to use it, don't buy it if you're not going to commit to knowing how to use it. But if you're solo, this can come in handy. So I wouldn't use it for anything crazy if you're on your own, but if you have an awkward piece that you just need to kind of hold on and you can let the piece kind of lean into your shoulder or onto your chest, that's one option. I've also used it, I've tied it around a chest or like a heavy nightstand and strapped it to my back if I had to go downstairs, if it was kind of just too awkward to hold in front of me or just simply too heavy and a hand truck wasn't an option for any reason. So there's a few different options you can use it for, and there's a lot of tutorials on YouTube as well. So check it out if you want. This is another thing that we got recently. I literally bought it and then we got in a car accident like 2 days later and I forgot it in the truck. So I actually haven't used it yet, but it's for weather strips. So it's like a little ramp that you would plug up to a weather strip. And if you know how annoying they are with dollies, then you know that this could come in handy. I haven't tried it yet, so I can't say for sure, but I got the 1/2-inch one. They get thicker, but if the weather strip isn't that bad, then getting bigger is just gonna make it, you know, kind of like a double hump. So I think this will be okay for the most part. I just have to cut it to, I'll probably cut it to like 28 inches so that way it can fit on most doors. As long as it's for like the dolly can get over, that's the important part. But yep, pretty cool little piece. I think it was like 10 or 15 bucks, which for me personally is worth it because it's such a headache going over a weather strip with a heavy piece on a dolly, especially if you have a drop after. Like I'm more worried about that drop than I am the weather strip. So I have to fight over getting over that weather strip and then worry about that drop on the other end. You know, it's complications. It's not a big deal from like the naked eye, but if you're familiar with it, then you know it's an issue. So that's what that's for. We'll leave that out. We'll probably put that up here with our floor runner, which is in the tote. We use the floor runner at entryways into houses if it's raining outside. So number one, we don't track in mud and dirt. Number two, we don't slip. And number three, it looks good for the customer, especially from a junk removal company. Usually moving companies have it, but it looks good for junk removal. So if you guys don't have one of these, you can buy these on Amazon. I don't know how much they are on Amazon, but I just bought it from my moving supply store and I just cut it into 3 different lengths. I believe you can get these in, if I find it on Amazon, I'll put it up on the screen. So should be able to find something similar. It's a neoprene, so And you can get different colors, so like this matches our business, obviously. Something worth looking into. Small detail, doesn't take up a lot of room. I usually throw it up behind my seat underneath my pull stick. But I'd say we're coming along pretty well here. Everything else is kind of extra at this point. So I have everything pretty much packed away. I just gotta fill in my toolkit bag, and then I gotta move the other two little guys. And actually, you know what, looking at it, since I got the extension cord put away, I usually keep the battery pack in our glove compartment, because we won't use it just for us, but if like somebody's nearby us at the gas station or something and they need a jump, I'm pretty quick to just head over and be like, hey, maybe jump start your car real quick. I got this on Amazon. There's different brands, different types, they're all the same shit, just different sizes. But you basically charge it up by USB, it holds power, and then you jump start your car with it. It's super easy. Actually, I'll show you really quick if you've never seen this. So battery pack, that's for power. You have a USB there if you need to charge it that way. Otherwise, you have an input here, and it's a C port. So any kind of iPhone C port works. Jumper cables, a little plug here, plug it in. It turns on automatically, and then you hook this up to the battery. And then just let it sit for a second. Good to go. Back in the bag. So I've used this on a few situations. Like, I've always carried jumper cables with me ever since I got my first car. One time I was at a client's house. She was like 85 years old, didn't have a car, and it was like a 55 plus community, like a mobile home park. And I didn't want to have to walk to somebody's house. I'm like, hey, can I borrow your car to jumpstart mine? So I had to call, and like Tanya was at work. This is when she worked at a property management job. Tanya was at work like a half hour away. My helper just happened, my 1099, he just happened to be like within 15 minutes of the area. And he was like, hey, I'll just come out and jumpstart you. And like I had my cables ready, and he was like, oh, don't worry about it, I got one of these. And this is where I learned about it. So it's like $75 to $100+ on Amazon. But honestly, if you're out like in the middle of nowhere or on a job, or even better, I've helped someone at the dump before who their dump trailer battery died, like kind of mid-action. Apparently that happens a lot, which when we get a dump trailer, I'm gonna keep mental note of that. I've jump started his battery so he was able to finish his thing and leave, you know? So it's more of a convenience without having to hook up your truck to it, which could obviously be very tricky in certain situations. Or if you're on a job and maybe there is no client there, maybe you're doing a job for a realtor or property manager, and you're out like in the acreage, or well, for us it's the acreage, for you it might be home, but you're in the middle of nowhere and there's nobody there to help jumpstart your vehicle. This just helps you to not have to rely on anybody, and then you don't have to worry about calling like AAA or something, or roadside. So I like doing things myself and avoiding that cost. Like I could get roadside and just wait a half hour and get a tow or something for free because you pay X amount a year. I'd rather just plug my own tire and, you know, inflate it, jumpstart my own vehicle. I would rather do everything myself than having to rely on a service, me personally. So that's that. But this comes in handy. This and then an air pump. I actually recently got this. I think we got it at Home Depot. I think this was like 80 bucks or something. I used to have a big blue one I got from Lowe's back in like 2017 when I had my Honda Elantra, and I used to plug my tires every fucking day when I worked at the moving company, because they did junk removal and they always had nails everywhere. I'm not kidding. I think at one point all 4 tires had at least 3 to 5 plugs in them. And when I went to go trade them in and get new tires, the guy was like, yeah, so like we were looking at your tread and like your tread wasn't terrible. And I was like, I know, I'm trading it in because I have a lot of plugs in each tire, which you're not really supposed to do. I've never had a problem between you and I, you know? Yeah, that was something that having one of these is just crazy nice. But I think our painter is here to give us an estimate, so we'll be back. So one mistake I made was I've been using the rental trucks for the last month, and no matter what year or model we got, this whole back end was flat and this wasn't here. And that's what I was thinking of when I got this. So had to compromise a little bit. It is gonna be a little annoying, but at least all my stuff is in one place, and that's what I wanted. Now we gotta decide what to do with this, and I need to get my drag pad back in there. So what I'm kind of thinking is the only person that sits in the back of my truck is my mom, the very few times we bring her somewhere. So I'm kind of thinking if I lay the blanket down horizontally here, because no one needs to use these cup holders, I'll lay the blanket down this way, put the jack on top in the middle, and then I have a second drag pad I can stick on top of it, so that way it doesn't look like that's there. And then I gotta find somewhere to put this stupid thing. It's so stupid we have to carry these with us. I get it, but like it's a fucking pickup truck. I don't even have a dump trailer. There's nothing mechanical about it other than the truck. Stupid. So yeah, we gotta find somewhere to put that, and then I'm gonna see if that thing fits here. It might be a little too long, which would be really annoying, but we'll see. Pretty interesting. This thing goes really far back. I guess it's like under the seat all the way to the back. There's no wires back there, so I mean, kind of works out, I guess. I mean, it's not too far over, not too shabby. It's not the worst. It's kind of snug in here too. Could almost lay like a little flat piece down and have like a little storage bin, maybe like an empty milk crate. Stick it up here. I don't know, we'll see. But I might even be able to just that way like the AC gets some flow. If I tuck this in, I don't know, we'll see. I'll mess around with it. So still a little cluttered, but at least, you know, you could sit here without having to worry about anything. And I have everything in one spot. So the idea is, at first I was like, do I really want one of these? Because of what happens when I need the one thing that's all the way down here, but I don't need anything in these two. Then I just gotta sit here and take it out every time. The objective though is to take it out every time and just have it readily available. Because what we usually do, and this is why my truck is so disorganized, is we do a lot of like senior living facilities and storage units, and we have stuff that, you know, it's very specific for what we need, and I'll sit here and dig through everything and pull it out, throw it into the speed pack or in my cart. We'll bring it up, do the job, come back, and then we don't put it away right away because we have to go run off to the next place. So then it gets, you know, kind of mixed up over time, and unless I go through it every week, like on Sunday or something, which is what I used to do, it just continues to get more and more disorganized. So the idea is to have to take this out every time and put it back every time, because I think it'll help keep me accountable with keeping it clean. So I got all of the tools in here except for two things: the drill and the socket set. I need to get a new socket set anyways. That's something that I internally struggle with, and it's stupid that I keep spending money on it, but I want something that's like organized, that's not gonna fall over the place, and every time I get one, it does. And I don't use them too often, so I don't need like a whole like 72 piece set, but I want something that has like the numbers for me so I can match it up easier and keep it organized. I know, stupid problems, but that's what I deal with. And I'm gonna put I got the floor runner down at the bottom. I got my hand truck pad up here. The trailer is over there. I would like to get those like storage boxes with the lock on it that you can install to your trailer. Harbor Freight sells them for like, I think $79 is the cheapest one. I really wanted to get one that I can keep that in there, and potentially even this guy, but I don't know if I'll be able to get both. I mean, I need this for the truck, which is annoying. So I wish they made these things freaking smaller and lighter. These things are a pain in the ass. I think it weighs like 60 pounds. It's taking up space. Got the no door panel. I had to order a new one and it takes 3 weeks to come in. And then I got my blower. The blower is just gonna sit like right here on the edge. We don't use it on every job, but it's nice to have when we forget a broom, or if it's a debris job, there's a lot of dust. So that's pretty much it though, not too bad. All right, found a spot for the fire extinguisher. Nothing else goes there, so I went ahead and just wrapped around the bungee to it, so it's pretty snug. Nothing should be hitting the clip really, and because we have had that happen with the fire extinguishers in the moving trucks. They sit underneath the driver's seat, and it's like people will get in the truck and kick them, or they'll like plop down on the seat so hard that they actually hit the trigger, and then this thing goes, and then in a split second, the entire inside cab of the truck is covered in the whatever the white stuff is, and it's really hard to clean out, and it's inside the AC vents for a long time. So I've always been cautious. I've tried to find like a plastic case to put it in, and to get one specifically meant for a fire extinguisher is insanely expensive. I even went as far as trying to see if I could get like a wine bottle like case, like a cheap wine bottle case, like made out of plastic and like a wood base or something, that I could just set it in and pull it out. That way like it could just float around back here and I don't have to worry about it getting punctured. But it's hard to find one to fit a fire extinguisher bottle. And the plastic cases, if you look them up, are like well into like the $70 to $90 range, which is just insane to me. I don't know why. But this ended up working out. I got my secondary drag pad on top. I think I'm gonna bring a second black crate in here to sit here, and it'll just be here for like if we have small miscellaneous stuff on a job, or if we go grocery shopping or whatever, because this is our personal truck as well. I got something to put stuff in there. I need to put the headache rack back on my window here for the sides, and then I have a bunch of these, like, they're not aluminum, I think they're like steel grid, and like I kind of wanted to spray paint them white and then cut them to size and stick them on the headache rack so I don't have to worry about stuff poking the window, but that way it'll also help me with being able to see out the back. So project for a different day, but something I am looking into. Otherwise, I think that's pretty much it. We just need to sort through the small stuff in the front, like in the little cubbies and stuff. You guys don't need to see any of that. All I try to make sure I have at all times is my square reader, the charger for the square reader, of course our iPhone chargers, and extra business cards. So that's what I forgot. We're gonna start putting out door hangers. We never put out door hangers. We have to start keeping them in the truck. I used to keep them and I never used them. I took them out. We're gonna put them back in. I'm also missing a little bit of storage because we don't have our door panel yet. So I'm missing like the little cubbies I would otherwise use to put like spray bottles and stuff in. So to be fair, I will have a little bit extra storage coming soon, but for now, I think the goal is to try to maintain this as best as possible. We found a guy, he did our neighbor's truck. He details the inside and outside of the truck for like 75 bucks, which is a pretty good deal if you think about it. And in my mind, I was like, well, I don't mind washing my truck, but sometimes I don't want to, you know. It's a bigger truck. It takes forever to get around stuff. I used to be able to wash my car in like 5 minutes. This truck takes me like 20. More space, harder to reach. And then detailing the inside, super pain in the butt. I think it might be worth it, 75 bucks. Even if you throw a little bit of a tip on there, still worth it. I think so. So we'll see. I don't know. But that's pretty much it. So let me know, do you struggle with keeping your truck organized? What have you done in the past to help that? Or do you just not worry about it at all because it's just always going to look like that? Have you tried these like build out boxes before? I know these aren't the fancy Milwaukee ones. Those things are expensive as fuck. I think this will work pretty well. And if you don't see this in my truck in a month, that means that it wasn't all that I thought it would be and I got rid of it or sold it. Because if I can keep it in good condition, I could probably resell it for like 75 to 100 bucks because they're normally 140. It just happened to be on sale. So if I wait until like January, I could probably resell this for 100 bucks if I don't get it all banged up. So we'll see. But that's gonna be it.